Alright guys, so it happened. Sony came out 2016 September and we had their conference. Now before we break down to some of the news, I want to generally say that this was one of Sony's most boring conferences. No scissor reel at the beginning. It seemed disjointed. It seemed like no one really knew what they were talking about. And just the crowd itself, there was no energy, there was no hype. Nothing people were kind of hoping, speculating for came to, life at this conference. It seemed really just last minute thrown together. I mean, literally it seemed like just a couple of PowerPoints, a couple little clips, and that was it. So Sony, since the launch of the PS4, since the announcement of the PS4, has been pretty decent, if not great, at creating these great conferences, these conferences that people leave hype, excited for. So this is one that people left with such a bad taste in their mouth, especially following Apple's conference. And literally Apple's conference ended, Sony started, and the Apple conference, despite your feelings on Apple, was received, practically pretty well with the great announcements and all that stuff. But that's a different subject. So Sony started off on a bad foot immediately. You had all the same people who came and speak, but none of them felt correct. So it was pretty strange to see that exist. Conference aside, there's the two major announcements. Now, we can get the positive out the way. There's a new PS4. It's a PS4 Slim. It's a little bit slimmer, shaped a little bit different, but it's exactly the same as the PS4 that's on the market now. I think it retails at $300. More energy efficient, little things like that. Pretty much the same we saw from the fat PlayStation 3 to the PS3 Slim. Same kind of idea. That's the good news people are excited for. If you haven't gotten a PS4 yet, there's your option. The bad news, not really bad news, just disappointing news, is the finally rumored PS4 4K, PS4 4.5, PS4 Neo is real. Now it's under the name PS4 Pro. Cool name, horrible concept. When you have, multiple speakers come out, not know what they're talking about, constantly, for 30 minutes they drove the point that this the PS4 Pro is not the next step of PS4, but it's an addition to the family. After all the talk, after all the videos and the spec talks that weren't really even there, the only difference between the PS4 Slim and the PS4 Pro literally is that it outputs at 4K. Now this is kind of a slap to the face when Xbox S, the Slim, the Xbox One S, literally did both what PlayStation 4 just announced in one system, kind of ending up being cheaper in that aspect. Even Microsoft tweeted, I'll try to insert the tweet, a little checklist. They put 4K streaming and Blu-ray, check, HDR gaming, check, greatest games, whatever, and the smaller, and the same price, $300. So what you would be paying that $400 PS4 for, the PS4 Pro at $400 price, literally you get more of a deal for the Xbox One S for $300. The same price they're selling you the PS4 Slim, which is the exact PS4 that we've had for the last 3 years. So it's very disjointed. I don't understand what happened, who thought there was a need for this. Again, no one seemed to know what they were talking about. They just kept reiterating that yes, the game's put out at 4K, but they run the same, they're the same game. Even though in the trailers it did say in a caption, being run on a PS4 Pro, blah blah blah. But thing is, when you're streaming a video through, most people are watching through Twitch or whatever streaming site you're on, you wouldn't know the difference, even if they put it side by side. If you were looking through a TV screen, if you were watching the conference through a phone. So that was all very strange to me. Again, it's confusing. It's an unnecessary technology, unnecessary step. They would have been fine just keeping the PS4 out there. No difference is the biggest thing that no one understands why they would want to get this PS4 when it's like they're trying to gloat this 1 terabyte hard drive. My PS4 has 2 terabytes in it. I mean, Sony, you made the PS4, customizable hard drive for a reason, so you don't have to play this game. And here you are taking back on your word. I'm not sure who you were competing with. It's strange. Even big Sony heads that have always, side by Sony, can't do it. A quote from Colin Moriarty from Kinda Funny. The PS4 Pro is an unnecessary iteration that complicates the PS4 ecosystem. Backwards compatible PS5 should have been announced in 2017, out 2018. That's something he's constantly said, And at first I was kind of against it, but I agree with it. I understand we're getting to technology advancing way quicker. So if you want to make these shorter generations, then you have to make that large step. So that's why the Xbox Scorpio, Project Scorpio, is such a big advancement, and why people have been okay with it, because it's a drastic change. The Xbox One S isn't just, oh, well, now it plays 4K, and next month we're going to release the Xbox Scorpio. You're confusing your market. You're making something complicated that you didn't. PS4 has been, the number one selling console per month since it's launched almost, besides a couple months where Xbox was ahead. You didn't need to. If PS4s were selling, you didn't need to make this 4K compatible. No one was asking for it. No one cares. Twitter and articles I was looking at, no one cares. Everyone's confused. Everyone's saying that it's almost a better deal to transfer their PS4 to a PS4 Slim than it is to get a PS4 4K. People don't have 4K TVs. They don't care about the little speck of a difference that the water may look this little bit different. I'm not going to buy a PlayStation 4 Pro on top of buying a 4K TV just so I can say I have it, when it's going to look the same as if I plug it into my TV now. It was just a very big misstep for Sony. This feels like their old conferences, their old, speeches when things aren't making sense, where they're kind of just competing with themselves. They're doing what they think was good, and it's not. I'm not sure where their research was in this one, but the PS4 Pro, I can't recommend anyone to buy it. It doesn't make sense to when you have the other two options. I mean, unless you're a person who has a 4K TV, doesn't have a PS4, and doesn't mind paying $100 for the exact same experience that you will get on a PS4 Slim / old PS4. It's just a confusing, almost waste of a time. I mean, that conference was 45 minutes. No new gameplay, a little bit of Mass Effect, but everybody knows Mass Effect Andromeda is going to be good. We don't need to see gameplay. We need, a good trailer with an announcement on Mass Effect. Showing Mass Effect at this conference was a big letdown. Everything at this conference was a letdown, besides the PS4 Slim at a good price of $300, which will be replacing the current PS4, the same way the Xbox One S replaced the Xbox One. Except, again, Xbox One on this one, where with the PS4 Pro and the PS4 Slim R, Xbox One S is both of them into one system for the cheaper price. Why Sony didn't think that way, I was hoping that the rumors were the PS4 Slim was in fact going to be the PS4 Pro Neo 4K 4.5. I mean, it's existing. Some people are going to buy it. I can't wait to see the numbers on this one. Hopefully Sony realized that they took a really, really big hit on this one, and it doesn't. And hopefully it helps actually, twist their visions. I don't know what else they have planned. Or they're going to try to reiterate the PS4 another time, 2 more times. Hopefully learning from the missteps or whatever success the PS4 Pro has. Good luck to Sony with that. We'll see what else happens this year. They do both release this year, from understanding. In like a week or two, the PS4 Slim releases, and then in November, the PS4 Pro releases. One final note is that they had no mention on the PlayStation VR. The PS4, 0.5 rumors was all about that it was going to be more it was going to be more bumped up and hyped for the PSVR. Literally, they had no conversation, at least that I remember. I was half falling asleep during this conference. The PS4 VR is going to run the same, from what I understand, on Slim to the PS4 Pro, which is just literally if you want to watch streaming in 4K. Because for some reason, even though Sony makes 4K Blu-ray DVDs, the PS4 Pro won't play 4K Blu-ray DVDs or whatever you call the 4K Ultra. It's not going to play those outputs, so it has to be streamed. Sony, you're very disjointed on this one. We're not sure where this idea came from. I'm just a consumer, and I have zero intention on buying a PS4 Pro. I'm more interested on maybe getting a second PS4, and I would obviously go to the Slim for that one. We'll see what else Sony does and how they bounce back from this one, how this all ends up in numbers and money. Until then, it's finally, the rumors have appeared, and they're not what anybody was hoping for. What do you guys think? What are you guys on? Are you sticking with your original PS4, switching to the Slim? If you're somehow, some reason, switching to the PS4 Pro, let me know why. Convince me, did I miss something in the conference? On why does someone like me, who's had a PS4 since, launch, that still works. The games run fine. I have 2 terabytes of memory, so I'm not running out of memory. Energy is not an issue. Is there a reason for me to jump to that PS4 Pro? I don't have a 4K TV. No one I know has a 4K TV. And I have, just makes no sense to me. Let me know what you guys think about that conference. What happened? Where did they go wrong? What would you have done different? Until next time, guys, we'll see what Sony has to say. Let me know what you guys think, and take care.